As you know that the Constitutional Court has directed Parliament to correct the Electoral Act 73 of 1998 that it must include the participation of individuals or independent candidates. For them to participate in the provincial and national elections. So the Constitutional Court has found that Electoral Act unconstitutional. The Minister of Home Affairs appointed the task team that was led by former Minister Valemusa and a team of experienced persons. The team has sought and consulted various stakeholders with the intention to solicit views on the modalities or methods to respond to the Constitutional Court judgment. They've done their work and submitted a report on two recommendations, two policy options. In summary, in terms of the recommendation, the first option was to maintain the current electoral system and have a way to include independents to participate on these provincial and national elections. The second option was to have a constituency electoral system. They've made their recommendation to Cabinet. And Cabinet has interacted and tabled the amendment bill to Parliament this year, January the 10th. On all those decisions, both of the Cabinet amendment and the task team, the committee, we don't have a decision on it. What the committee did was to issue an invitation for written submission for the public to comment on the electoral amendment bill. We can confirm that we have received a lot of written submission to the committee. The committee also conducted oral submission on the 2nd and the 3rd of February 2022.
February 2022, committee
there were various NGOs that attended the oral submissions. We are giving this account to demonstrate that we've started with this work of the Concord judgment. We've listened to all the submission, the oral, and the committee has not even taken a decision, even on the submissions that we made. So we've started in all provinces, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, Gauteng, Cape KwaZulu-Natal, Free State, and Northern Cape. So we're here in Northwest and in Eastern Cape. We're here to listen to your submissions. on how we can respond to this constitutional court judgment on independent candidates.
Gore re ka arabela jang kopo eno ya kgotlatshekelo ya molaotheo ka ga bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi.
When we have concluded with all the public hearings,
E tla re ha re sena go konela dikokoanothetso tseno tsotlhe,
the committee will deliberate on all the issues we have raised so that we are able to take a consolidated report and submit to the National Assembly.
komiti e tla nna fa fatshe go akanyetsa ditshwaelo tsotlhe tse le di tlhagisitseng di be di romelwa gore re go bona gore ditshwetso tsa bofeletse di ka dirwang e tla nna dife.
We are also aware that the public unit that deals with workshop, education and parliament, they've interacted with the community around and in Northwest.
Mme ebile gape re etse tlhoko gore ba ba dirisanang le tsa thuto le dikokoano thutano ba berekisana mmogo le palamente le bone ba tsa matsapa a go diragatsa kopo e ntseng jalo.
To empower the residents on this electoral amendment bill.
E leng go lo tlhaba botlhale lona jaaka baagi ka ga molaotlhomo ono o mametleletsweng wa ditlhopho.
You are going to be allocated 5 minutes for your submissions.
Lo tlile go newa metsotso e le metlhano go ntsha ditshwaelo tsa lona.
We are going to plead with yourself
Re tlile go lo kopa ka tsweetswe
because this is your meeting
ka gonne se ke kopano ya lona.
to respect each and everyone who's going to stand here and make his or her own submission.
Gore lo tlotle motho mongwe le mongwe yo o tla emang fano a ntsha ditshwaelo tsa gagwe.
And you can use any language
Lo ka bua le ha e ka nna ka puo efe.
because this is an important meeting for you to guide the committee and parliament on this electoral amendment bill.
Ka gonne eno ke kokwane e botlhokwa ya gore lona lo kaele komiti lo kaele le yone palamente ka ga molaotlhomo ono o.
When your minutes has lapsed
Fa nako ya gago e fedile
and when we request you to stand aside, you must appreciate that there are others that want to make submissions.
mme ha re go kopa gore o tswe re kopa gore o itse gore go na le ba bangwe ba le bone ba tshwanetse go newa sebaka sa go bua.
And we're not going to suppress anyone. We're going to allow yourself to express your views as individuals or political parties or NGOs.
Ga re batle go gatelela ope mme re tle go le letla gore lo bueng jaaka motho ka bongwe kgotsa lekoko la sepolotiki kgotsa jaaka setheo sa NGO.
We're going to identify 10 hands on the line, and you raise your hand, we recognize you, you come and sit. The team, where they are working with us, they will assist on the sitting arrangements.
So re tle go kopa matsogo a ka nna 10 a ba ba tleng go nna mo molagareng ono o gore ba tle ba kgone go tla go ntsha ditshwaelo tsa bone.
You will realize that you requested that we must start at 10:30. Normally we start at 10 o'clock.
Le tla ela tlhoko gore re ile ra lo kopa gore re simolole ka 10:30 gantsi re simolola ka 10 o'clock.
So our meeting starts at 10 and end at 12:30 or 1 o'clock.
Kopano ya rona e simolola ka 10 mme e khutla ka 12:30 kgotsa ka 1 o'clock.
It will depend on the submissions that you are making.
Seno se tle go ikaega ka palo ya ditshwaelo tse di tleng go ntshiwa.
We are now going to recognize hands for submissions.
Jaanong re tle go kopa matsogo ba gaetso a ba ba batlang go ntsha ditshwaelo tsa bone. Lo ka tsholetsa matsogo.
Okay, number 1. Yes. Okay, number 2.
So you can come closer. Number 2.
Number 3.
Le number 3.
Number 4.
Re na le number 4.
Number 5.
Wa botlhano.
Number 6. Yeah. Okay, yeah, the last one. Yes, you can join the line. So this is our first set of hands. We'll come and invite other hands
Ka jalo
when they've submitted.
ke karolo ya rona ya ntlha ya matsogo morago ga mo re tla leletsa ba bangwe gape.
You can start.
O ka simolola.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Mildred Motswasile,
Dumelang ke nna mme Motswasile.
President and founder of Banabatari.
Ke nna mo Tamiwa
We are registered in terms of Banabatari.
wa Banabatari.
We are registered in terms of Section 15A of the Electoral Commission Act 51 of 1996.
Re ikwadisitse go ya ka karolo ya 15A ya molao wa commission ya ditlhopho wa bo 51 wa ka 1996.
I oppose the bill the government intends to pass because it is unconstitutional and does not allow for the true direct election of our leaders in parliament.
Nna tota ga ke dumalane gotlhelele le molaotlhomo ono o puso e batla gore re bakane le one ka gonne ga o tsamaisane sentle gotlhelele le molaotheo ebile tota ga o dire gore ditlhopho di tsamaye ka tsela e re ne re lebeletse ka yone.
On the 1st of November, the people spoke and spoke loudly.
Ka di 15 November batho ba ile ba bua mme ba ne ba utlwala sentle tota gore ba reng.
That they want to choose their own leaders and not political parties imposing politicians on them.
Gore ba batla go itlhophela baeteledipele ba bone e seng makoko a dipolotiki a gatellang megopolo ya bone mo go bone.
Hence the birth of Bana ba Thari.
Ke ka lona lebaka le o rile ra tlhama setheo sa Bana ba Thari.
Ka Setswana re re, le ga o ka itima metsi, o tla ifitlhela e nole.
I cannot translate the idiom. Thank you.
Bana ba Thari says we need a constituency-based system.
Bana ba Thari ba re re tlhoka gore go nne le ditlhopho mo kgaolong e e rileng ya batho.
And this has already been identified by numerous commissions,
Mme ebile di-commission di le mmalwa di setse di ile tsa bona ha seo se tshwanela.
including the Van Zyl-Selbert report,
Go kopanyeletsa le pego
yeah, and the majority ministerial advisory report.
ya ditsamaiso tse e leng gore go na le dipego tsa botsamaisi go tswa mo go tsone ka ga seo.
Unfortunately, the government does not allow this.
Mme ka maswaibi puso ga e letle gore seo se dirwe.
It favors politicians, not the people.
E lebega e rata thata borra dipolotiki mme e seng batho.
This is also unconstitutional for many reasons, but today I would like to focus on one.
Seno le sone tota ga se tsamaisane sentle le molaotheo mme ka ntlha mabaka mantsi mme ke batla go ntsha le le lengwe fela.
This is motivated by my 4 months as a councillor in Moses Kotane local municipality.
Mme seno ke ka ntlha ya lebaka la se se ileng sa buiwa ke mokhanselara wa nako e fetileng mo kgaolong ya masepala wa Moses Kotane.
Still the current. Yes.
Mokhanselara wa ga jaanong jaana ke wena.
Yes. That will be the discarded vote.
E bitswang ka mantswe a mangwe seno se amana le bothata jwa go latlhiwa ga di vote.
The right to vote in section 19(3)(a) of the Constitution
Ka jalo tshwanelo ya go vouta jaaka e le mo go section ya molaotlhomo
must be interpreted as the right to vote that counts equally.
e tshwanetse gore e lejwe jaaka tshwanelo ya go vouta e abelwang batho ka tekatekano.
This is an already established principle where the Constitutional Court in August versus Electoral Court says that
Mme seno se e tshwanetse go nna e go dumelana sentle le yone jaaka ha molaotlhomo kgotsa kgotlatshekelo ya molaotheo e dumelana le gore go dirwe ka one.
Can I read all of the sentences? Can I read all of the sentences? All right. The vote of each and every citizen is a badge of dignity and of personhood.
Voutu ya moagi mongwe le mongwe ke karolo e mo nayang seriti ebile le botho.
Literally, it says that everybody counts.
Tota ya re motho mongwe le mongwe o botlhokwa.
In a country of great disparities of wealth and power,
Mo nageng ya rona ya batho ba e leng gore ba farologana fela thata ha re tla mo maemong a khumo le go nna le dithata.
it declares that whoever we are, whether rich or poor,
E bontsha gore go sa kgathaletse gore re bomang a re humile kgotsa ga re a huma.
exalted or disgraced,
E re batho ba ba kwa godimo ba ba tlotlomadiwang kgotsa ba ba sa tlotlomadiweng
we belong to the same democratic South Africa.
rotlhe fela re batho ba demokrasi e le nngwe fela ya Afrika Borwa.
That our destinies are intertwined in a single
Gore isago ya rona
You must relax.
Okay, I'll try.
You must relax. Just work towards your conclusion.
The independent candidate will be allocated a regional seat.
bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi ba tla newa setulo mo kgaolong e ba le mo go yone.
If they receive enough votes to meet the first, second quarter of votes per seat in the region.
Fa e le gore ba amogela palo e lekaneng sentle ya di vote
in which they are standing for office in the second round.
gore ba kgone go emela kantoro e ba e tlhopetsweng mo karolong ya bobedi.
Conversely, political parties receive seats in proportion to their share of vote.
Mme makoko a dipolotiki le one a amogela di vote tsa bone go ya ka tekatekano e ba e beetsweng.
In other words, all votes for a political party are not wasted and will be contributed to the final composition of the National Assembly and the provisional legislature.
Mo go rayang gore di vote tsotlhe tse ba nang le tsone ga di kitla di sengwa mme di tla tsenyelediwa gore di dirisiwe mo kokoanong bosetšhaba.
The People Bill proposes the possibility of a surplus vote transfer.
Molaotlhomo o tshitshinya gore di vote tse di oketsegileng di ka fetisediwa go ba bangwe.
This gives better effect to the principle that each citizen has an equal effect voice in the election of the representative to our legislatures.
Seno se bontsha sentle gore lentswe la batho ba ba buang le rediwa ka tekatekano ha re tla mo kganyeng ya ditlhopho.
And achieves a higher degree of proportionality between the vote and share of seats.
Le gore go fitlhelelwe tekatekano sentle ya di vote tseo le go kgaoganya ditulo tse di go gaisanelang go di bona.
The importance of equality of political voice is particularly important.
Go rediwa ka tekatekano ga mantswe a makoko a sepolotiki le gone go botlhokwa.
Given the country's bloody history, and the Constitutional Court commemorates this in the camp by saying,
Ha re leba masetlapelo a naga ya rona ileng ya nna le one ebile molao kgotlathekelo ya molaotlhomo le yone e leba seno ka leitlho le le ntseng jalo.
many people in many different ways struggle to fight to secure the right to vote for all people in South Africa.
Batho ba le bantsi mo mafelong a le mantsi ba kgaratla tota gore ba kgone go nna le di vote tse e leng gore tsotlhe fela di dira gore motho mongwe le mongwe a nne le tshwanelo ya go vouta mo Afrika Borwa.
It was a right denied to the vast majority of the country's citizens.
Eno ke tshwanelo e leng gore ba le bantsi ba baagi ba Afrika Borwa ba ne ba idiwa.
Many devoted their lives to the struggle for democracy.
Ba le bantsi ba ile ba inela gore ba lwe ba kgaratlhele puso ya democracy.
Others were imprisoned, banned, harassed, and even exiled.
Ba bangwe ba ile ba tsengwa mo kgolegelong ga sotlakakwa ka bone ba beelwa dithibelo jalo le jalo.
No one has or has seen photographs of the patient queues that waited for hours to cast their votes in the first democratic election can have any doubt that the right to vote is a precious one for all South Africans.
Go na le ba le bantsi ba e leng gore ga ba ka ba bona dinepe tse di neng di le teng mmogo le mela e metelele le bopelotelele jwa bone mo go yone ba eme diura tse di seng kana ka sepe gore ba kgone go latlhela dipampiri tlhopho tsa bone mo pusong ya rona ya ntlha ya ditlhopho tsa democracy.
The struggle of all those who work to bring democracy to this country is properly honored when you conduct a free and fair election.
Botlhe ba e leng gore ba lwela dikgaratlhano tseno tsa go tlhopha
You must work on summarizing your submissions. You're working outside your time.
Okay.
o setse o seilwe ke nako re kopa gore o sobokanye tshwalo ya gago.
Ha ke beya phegelwana fa ke fetsa ka gore
If I put a comma here, this is how I conclude it.
mosekaphofu wa gabo a ka a swa lentswe.
Mosekaphofu wa gaabo ga ka ka swa lentswe.
Thank you. We'll request that if there are written submissions, the team can assist where she can submit. Okay, yeah. Just give to our next. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. I am called Tumelo Tebe here in Mahikeng in what? Lot number 11.
Okay. I would like to start on the basis the Constitutional Court ruling.
Nka rata go simolola fana ka mabaka a ntshitsweng ke kgotlatheo molao taolo ya bone.
It has firstly ruled that the Electoral Act it is unconstitutional.
E laetse fano gore molao tlhomo ono wa ditlhopho tota ga o tsamaisane le molaotheo.
It has also directed Parliament that it must amend the Electoral Act and giving it 24 months to do that?
Gape e laetse parlamente gore e fetole molaotlhomo ono wa ditlhopho mme ba neilwe dikgwedi di le 24 go dira jalo.
Now, my first question to the committee would be, why is it taking the committee 21 months to hold its first public hearing sessions?
Jaanong potso ya ka ya ntlha e nka e le romela mo go lona jaaka komiti ke gore ke ka ntlha ya fa go lo tsaya dikgwedi di le 21 go tshwara kokoano ya lona ya ntlha ya go reetsa maloko a setšhaba.
Now, my understanding is that there should be a second leg of the public hearings.
Ka jalo nna se ke se tlhaloganya le go se itse fane ke gore go tshwanetse gore go nne go tshwarwa karolo ya bobedi gape ya go tshwara dikokoano tseno tsa go reetsa maloko a setšhaba.
Now, in that regard, what would happen if ever the parliament do not fulfill the directives of the Constitutional Court?
Jaanong gape go tla direga eng ha e le gore parlamente e ka nna ya pallwa ke go diragatsa taelo ya kgotla tshekelo ya molaotheo.
Okay, now getting to my submission, in the Constitutional Court ruling, they defined the qualification criteria that individual candidates must be citizens, so adult citizens.
Jaanong ya ka ha ke ya mo ditshwaelong tsa ka tsa ntlha kgotla tshekelo ya molaotheo e laetse gore bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi tshwanelego ya bone e tshwanetse gore e be e le maloko a bagodi ba e leng ma-Afrika Borwa.
Now, my submission is that the committee must uniquely define the wording adult in this regard to include persons from the age of 18 years to 60 years, because we would want to avoid the nightmare that parliament is largely constituted by people who are pensioners.
Ka jalo gape re ka rata gore jaanong mo molaotlhomo one wa rona go tlhalosiwe le ke komiti gore ha go buiwa ka bagodi sentlentle tota go buiwa ka bomang batho ba dingwaga di ka nna 18 go ya go fitla go 61 ka lebaka la gore mathata a re nang le ona ke gore maloko a parlamente ki a batho ba e leng gore ke ba pensionera.
The ruling also speaks to the right to the freedom of association and the freedom not to associate.
Taolo eno gape ya bone e akaretsa kgololosego ya go kopakopana le ba bangwe le ya go sa dire jalo.
Now, it is on this basis that I'm agreeing with the amendment bill,
Leno-
that it must be passed into law.
Leno ke lone lebaka la go bo ke dumalana le molaotlhomo ono o mametleletsweng gore o tshwanetse gore na o dirwe go nna molao o go dirwang ka bona kgotsa ba konokono.
This would now give a right to independent candidates to contest elections, not through political parties whatsoever.
Seno se tla dira gore bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi ba nne le tšhono ya go gaisanela ditlhopho e seng gore maloko a dipolotiki a dire jalo.
Now, as to the how part of dealing with the candidate selection, I would want to suggest that each local municipality must have their own representative to national and to province.
Mme ha re tla mo kganyeng ya go tlhophiwa ga bontlhopheng bana ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi nka rata gore go nne le thulaganyo e leng gore ke tsamaiso e mo go yone ba tlhophiwang ya kokoano bosetšhaba mmogo le ya kgotlatheo molao mo porofenseng.
The other submission would be that the closed party list must be scrapped because it does not provide a fair competitive ground for candidates during elections.
Mme ebile gape nka rata gore lenaane la batlhophi le le setseng le tswetswe le tshwanetse gore le sengwe ka gonne ga le tlatseletse ka tsela e siame e molemo mo kganyeng ya ditlhopho.
Also, I would like to make a submission on the requirements and the qualification criteria of candidates. We have recently had local government elections on which we had independent candidates contesting as councillors.
Mme gape re tshwanetse gore re ele tlhoko kgang ya dipatlafalo le ditshwanelego tsa bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi ka lebaka la gore bošeng jaana re nnile le ditlhopho tsa selegae tse di neng tsa tsenelwa.
Now, the qualification criteria used in the local government elections should be upheld in this bill.
Ka jalo ditshwanelego tse di neng di dirisiwa mo ditlhophong tsa puso selegae di tshwanetse gore di tsenyelediwe mo molaotlhomong ono o mametleletsweng.
My last point would be on the registration fee of candidates.
Me ntlha ya ka ya bofelo yone e amana le tuediso ya ba e leng bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi.
I would not come with a figure of saying independent candidate, in order for them to register with the IEC, they must pay a particular fee. What I am submitting is that the fee must be fair to the candidates. It must not open doors to corruption. It must not open doors to the capital monopoly in a way that only the rich, for argument's sake, let's say the fee that
Re ka nna ra bua fano fa re re ga nke ke ka tla ka madi a palo e beilweng ya gore ba duediswe bokae, mme se nka ratang go se bua fano fa ke gore tuediso epe e tla tlhomiwang e nne e leng gore e tla tswala dikgoro tse di bulang ditšhono tsa ditiro tsa boferefere. Re batla gore e nne ka mokgwa o e leng gore e tla thibela bothata jo bo ntseng jalo.
because allowing independent candidates to contest elections would only open doors to those who do have money.
Ka gonne go letlela bontlhope ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi gore ba gaisana le ditlhopho, seno se tlile go bula dikgoro tsa gore ba ba nang le madi ba tsene le dikgaisano tseo,
And prejudice those who do not have money.
le go sa lebe sentle kgotsa go lebela kwa tlase ba o bone ba senang madi.
That is my submission. Ke
Ke tshwalo ya me eo, ke a leboga.
Thank you.
Re a leboga. Yo latela. Let me take this opportunity to say my greeting to the House at large.
Before I start, let me just say I'm a young person, and you know that young person are always out of.
E re ke simolole fano fa ka gore ke motho yo mošwa mme ra itse gore bašwa ka dinako tsotlhe ba ba dule mo taolong,
Meaning that I'm going to be out of order.
mo e leng gore se ke buang fa ke gore ke tlile go tswa mo taolong.
It can't be seen, the honorable members, that
Sorry, just before you are out of order, introduce your name and surname, so that for purpose of our recording.
hence I already told you when people are always out of order. I forgot. My name is Itumela.
Ke seno se ke neng ke se bua ha ne ke re ke tlile go tswa mo taolong, ke lebetse go dira jang.
My name is Itumela Chhabane from Ward 12, Mahikeng, Safarji.
Ka jalo nna ke Itumeleng Chhabane, Ward 12 go tswa mo Mahikeng mo South region.
Yeah, hence I've alluded. It can't be seen, honorable members, that we are here discussing secondary issues that are affecting our society, whereas we are faced with serious challenges, especially from the parliament.
Ga go a siama batlotlegi gore re nne fane fa re tlotle ka mathata a seng botlhokwa go le go kalo, mme re ntse re lebanwe ke mathata a masisi a tota palamente tshwanetse go akanyetsa.
Coming back to our province,
Ha ke bua ka province ya rona,
we are faced with a challenge whereby we have a premier who was not even democratically elected.
re na le bothata jwa gore re na le mopremia yo o sa tlhophiwang ka tsela ya sedemokrasi.
Just hold it there.
Re kopa gore o eme gona fela fao ra.
And my time again,
I'm saying just hold it there.
Re rile ra re ema hela ha.
I'm not going to suppress.
Skatswela.
What we'll appreciate is that the point that you are trying to raise, and I think you have pleaded to the people here that you're going to be out of order. And we wanted to just to understand why are you saying you want to be out of order. But because you are raising governance issues, which are not on the agenda of this public hearing, they may not assist us to reach out in terms of the electoral amendment bill. We'll plead with you that if there's that matter that you want to raise with us, I'm fully aware that the president and his cabinet, they were here last week. yeah, this past weekend.
Yeah, so that's where I'm going. I'm not going to talk about
No,
this issue.
no. Our process here is that when a person is on the stage, you allow him or her to finish. We don't work on dialogue. That's why I requested, because I'm chairing on behalf of the committee. And there are procedures and rules on how public hearings were running on it. So I'm guiding you that if we didn't want you to express your view, we could have said, no, you want to be out of order, don't talk immediately. So we're saying to you that the matter that you are raising, it may not assist this process of electoral, because you are saying the premier has been elected undemocratically or something like that. Will not have to respond to it. In fact, we are not even here to listen to that point. But what I'm affirming is that I'm advised by the researchers that the president and the cabinet, they were here to do an imbizo. So the issue that you are raising, it may have found expression in that imbizo. But here, we are not here to respond to the governance issues. We understand the issues that you want to attempt to raise, but it will contribute negatively to the proceeding of this meeting. So we're not here to deal with the governance issues of Northwest. Let me put it like that. I must be clear on that space. We are here to listen to yourself, because this is your meeting on the Electoral Amendment Bill. So I'm giving you the last opportunity. We're just as request from the podium, so that we don't cloud the issues that were faced with here. I'm just giving you the last opportunity to input, and then you end. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for your leadership. Yeah, no, I'm going to clarify you very swiftly.
Ke a leboga modulasetulo, ke tla utlwala sentle ebile ke tla dira jalo ka bonako.
You have alluded a whole lot of, and then the purpose of it.
O bakile dintlha di le mmalwa le boikalelo ba letsatsi la gompieno.
But mine here is very simple. I have already told you that I am going to be out of order.
Me
So
tota
I'm going to take this opportunity when leadership to submit whatever that I want to submit, because of, as the province, we are not hip.
me ke batla go tlhalosa yalo gore ke ile ka tlhalosa gore ke tlile go tswa mo taolong ebile ke batla go ntsha dintlha tse ke batlang go dintsha ka gore rona jaaka province tota ga ra itumela.
And we are going to take this opportunity because of you are from the national parliament.
And re
The
batla
same parliament that is having its own challenges.
re batla go tsaya tšhono eno e re e dirise ka gonne o tswa ko palamenteng, yone palamente e nang le dikgwetlho le mathata a yone.
Firstly,
Sa ntlha,
you are talking about the imbizo that the president was here.
o buile ka imbizo ya gore mopresidente o na le fano.
The very same imbizo that took money from the people from the province, and then a huge lot of money was used unlawfully so.
E leng yona province kgotsa imbizo e neng ya tsaya madi a seng kana ka sepe mo bathong, go ne ga dirisiwa madi a seng kana ka sepe.
So are you saying as the province we must sit here, listen to you, and then come up with secondary issues? I'm here to submit first issues.
No, and that I think you are now getting out of hand.
O tswile mo taolong ra.
And I have carefully listened to you, and we have advised that you are now raising allegations that the Mbizo was unlawfully used money or something like that.
So o tlhaba batho ka ditatofatso tsa gore
And we're
imbizo
not
e
going
tsere
to
madi.
allow that posture
Ga re tle go letla mokgwa o ntseng jalo.
that you want to express. And we have pleaded with you, my brother, that the agenda of the meeting is outlined. We are dealing with the matter of Electoral Amendment Bill. And if there's other issues that relate to governance, look, we are here as members of parliament. We deal with many issues. And we're not saying we're closing members to raise issues. Wherever we're in public hearings, members have been raising issues outside this electoral bill, and we've been guiding them. Now, you are refusing to be guided. We are pleading with you. You are refusing to be guided. And I must tell you that we are not going to allow that attitude. Get it from me. So we have exhausted your 5 minutes.
No leadership. I think the
No, no.
whole 30 minutes,
No,
the
no.
whole 3 minutes
No,
was
no,
you.
no.
I only spoke 2 minutes
No.
because of I'm still going to
No,
address
listen.
the issue for.
Listen, my brother. Let's get ourselves clearer, members of the community.
Bagaetsho maloko a setšhaba a ke re tlhaloganyeng ntlha ya botlhokwa fa.
No, just hold your hand, mister.
Re kopa o ka se ka tsholetsa letsogo.
We're in control of the meeting. There's no crisis.
So re ke rona re eteletseng pele kopano eno.
Because we don't want your meeting to be disrupted.
Ga lo batla ke re gore kopano ya lona e itegetsebe a ke re.
And we must protect the proceeding of the meeting as members of parliament.
Ene rona re batla go sireletsa thulaganyo ya kopano eno jaaka maloko a palamente.
We've requested the gentleman that, look, the matter that you are raising, and if you have listened to all the issues as raised, he has not raised any input in relation to electoral amendment bill.
So lo ntse lo mo utlwa bua ke re dintlha tsotlhe tsa di tlhagisitseng ga a tlhagisa le fa le ntlha e le nngwe e amanang le molaotlhomo ono o mametleletsweng wa
I've
ditlhopho.
given him another opportunity. He's
Kaba-
coming with the allegations of money used for imbizo of the president and the cabinet.
Jaanong ha ke mona tšhono e nngwe o tla ka ditatofatso tsa mopresidente le madi le mbizo.
So we are, and I said to him, that matter does not arise to the electoral bill.
Yeah, ene ke mo reile ka re ntlha eo e buang ga ya mane gotlhelele le molaotlhomo ono wa ditlhopho.
So we don't want all of us to get out of hand, to talk about, even when we plead with you and we guide with you, that this is a process we're engaging on.
Ka jalo ka
You must-
tswetswe.
And we don't want you members to be unable to reach out to the committee.
Ga re batla gore lo pallwe ke go fitlhella pelo ya komiti lona maloko ka go bua dilo tse di sa amane gotlhelele le moko wa kgang e re tletseng fano.
Can I give you 2 minutes? You conclude and you sit down.
Anka gona metsotso e le mebedi o konele o boya go nna fa fatshe.
Thank you very much, leadership.
Ke a go leboga moeteledi pele.
As I'm about to conclude,
Jaanong jaaka ga ke tloga ke
the issues
konela
that I've just raised, mind you, they come from this electoral amendment.
mathata a tota ke neng ke batla go a tlhagisa a amana le yone molaotlhomo ono o mametleletsweng wa ditlhopho.
Only if you could just listen.
Ha fela o ne o ka ntheetsa ka tswetswe.
But just to cut the long story,
Me gore ke se ke ka ya lolololo.
I feel that the bill is not constitutional.
Tota nna ke akanya gore molaotlhomo ono ga o tsamaisane le molaotheo.
Because of now, when we look at the numbers in the parliament,
Ka gonne ha re le ba dipalopalo tsa ba ba leng mo parlamenteng
and then the bill says we must split the numbers from 400 to 200.
me molaotlhomo o bo o re kgaogane dipalo tsene tse gore e nne 400 le 200 jaaka mokgatlho.
We need to have numbers in the parliament.
Re tshwanetse go nna le dipalo mo teng ga parlamente.
So it means now the number is going to shrink,
Seno se raya gore dipalo tseo di tle go ngotlega.
meaning that the laws and everything that it has to be passed in the parliament, we need to now lobby other individuals.
Mo go rang gore melao yotlhe e tshwanetseng gore e fetisiwe mo parlamenteng e tla dira gore jaanong re ne le ditsela tse dingwe tse di farologaneng tsa go batla batho bao ba ka tsengwang mo go yone
So that the laws can be passed.
e le gore re kgone go tsenya melao eo tirisong.
But because of now, I can feel that you are in charge of the meeting. You don't want us as young people to submit issues.
Jaanong e re ka kgonang jaana ke bona gore o eteletse kopano eno pele ebile ga o batla gore rona bašwa re tlhagisa maikutlo a rona.
Let me just say, le ga o ka itima metsi le tona, o tla e bona e nole. Rona re le bašwa, ba mo bokone bophirima, we are going to make it a point that we submit our frustrations to the national parliament. And we are going to use this same platform because we are not happy with whatever that is happening.
So even if you can ignore, Chair, in the long run you'll see that this was indeed the truth. Rona jaaka bašwa ba mo porofenseng eno e re tlile go leka ka natla go tlhagisa dintlha tsa rona re tle go dirisa yone thulaganyo eno e re neilweng gompieno.
Thank you.
Ke a leboga.
No, thanks. Before you come, Ntati,
Re a go leboga.
I think there must not be an impression that we are closing people to talk.
Bagaetsho re se ke ra na le mogopolo wa gore re gatelela batho gore ba se ka ba ntsha maikutlo a bone.
What we are ascertaining and affirming is that we are in control of the meeting in terms of the procedures. This meeting is your meeting.
Se re se gatelelang fano fa ke gore rona re eteletse kopano eno pele ka dithulaganyo tse e tshwanetseng go di latelela ke kopano ya lona.
So if there's any other matter that it does not relate to the agenda item,
Ka jalo ha go na le ntlha e buiwang e sa amane le agenda ya rona ya gompieno,
we have a responsibility to get the meeting on the same path.
so boikarabelo ba rona ke go busetsa kopano ya rona gore e tsene mo tseleng gape.
Just an example, if there's allegation that there's money used for Imbizo of last week, I'm not sure when it was, last week.
Ka se ka ya ka ga go na di tatofatso tse di tshwana le tseno tsa gore go na le madi a ne a dirisiwa mo Imbizong mo bekeng e fetileng.
And we know as citizens that there are forums and legislative agencies that you can, as a citizen, you can go and report that allegation that is ensued.
Rona jaaka baagi ra itse gore di teng di foramo le ditheo se e leng gore ha go na le dilo tse di ntseng jalo re ka go tsone re ya go bega molato o.
So we are pleading that let's understand that this is your meeting, is an opportunity that you must contribute to this meeting. In his closing, he contributed on the issues that this team of parliament and researchers are interested on, and they've taken notes of them. The last two statements is made on the electoral amendment bill. This is a valuable input that we are here to listen to.
Ka jalo re kopa gore lo di ntshe ditshwaelo tsa lona go ya ka taelo e siameng ka lebaka la gore ha o ne o ka mo reetsa dintlha tsa gago tsa bofelo tse pedi tsene a dintsha di amana kgo le moko wa molaotlhomo o re tlileng fano ka ona ke se re se batlang.
Thank you. So you can.
Re a leboga.
Nteke go dumedise re modulasetulo le ba tsamayang le bone.
Greetings to you, Chair, and your company.
Na leina la ka ke Mogaetsho Thale ke tswa ko Ramotshele Moiba local municipality.
My name is Mogale Mogaetsho
Foethu.
Mofwetu.
Homeboy.
Homeboy, or Mogaetsho, okay, homeboy here in Mahikeng.
Ke tswa ko Ramotshele local municipality.
So I'm coming from Ramotshele local municipality.
Ward 18.
Ileng ward yabo 18.
Ke ka bona kwanyana fela re biditse re tlo go bontshiwa ka this electoral amendment bill.
So it happened all of a sudden that we were called gore re tle go utlwa ka molaotlhomo ono o mametleletsweng wa ditlhopho. So I also came here with the aim of coming to contribute.
Independent candidates.
As we heard that there will be independent bon tlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi.
Ke ne ke tsitsinya gore batho bana ba batla dembali ba bidiwa jalo ba ere mo tsamaisong e betla beng ba dile ka yone ba bereke within the legal framework.
I wanted to suggest that people who will be called such ba bereke go ya ka melawana e ba tla beng ba e beetswe.
They must be regulated and governed by the bylaws.
Ka jalo ba tshwanetse gore tota se ba se dirang ba laolwe ke melao e ba e tlhometsweng.
Bogolo thata jang ga go tliwa mo phetsing ya funding.
Especially when it comes to the matter of funding.
Who is going to fund this bill?
Ke mang yo o tlileng go ba tshegetsa ka madi?
Are they going to be funded by the taxpayers?
A ba tlile go tshegediwa ka madi a tswang go baduedi ba pension, ba lekgetho?
Are they going to be funded by private companies and so on and so on?
A kgotsa gongwe ba tlile go tshegediwa ke madi ke ditlamo tsa private kgotsa ke batho fela ba ba rileng? E tlo go nna bo mang? Who is it going to be?
A re o itemogela gore yaanong batho bana ba tlile go ikhumisa ka di-funds tse ba tle ba di fiwa bone le ba ba tlabeng ba ba potapotile di-families tsa bone jalo.
Are we not going to have an experience where these people are actually going to end up enriching themselves and other people around them and their families with this? Ka tsela e sa siamang. That is why I am raising the matter of go dira dilo go ya ka melao. While listening, it has also been mentioned that these people whom we are talking about, at the time when they will be out on a campaign,
they will be guided by the Electoral Act.
Ba tlebe ba kaelwa ke molao wa ditlhopho.
But now beyond that,
Me ha se re fetetse ka kopele. When they would now be men and women who are parliamentary members,
is there a body that will say, yes, these people belong to us?
A go tla bo go na le setlhopha se se tlabeng se re batho bano ba, yes, ke ba rona.
A body, an organization.
Setlhopha kgotsa mokgatlho.
Specifically for them.
Ka ga bone ka tlhamalalo.
Gore batho ba bereka le rona ba ka fa tlase ga rona.
That these people, they work with us and they work under us.
So that maybe banna somehow involved in criminal acts.
So that how go direga gore ba fapoge melao ba simolla ba tsenela mo ditirong tsa bokebekwa bosenyi.
Maybe, you know, he's now a parliamentarian. Yes, man, he drives a beautiful car. He jolts around with minors and all that.
Gongwe ka nako ya teng motho wa teng o humile ke leloko la palamente o tsama ka koloi e ntle diokobatsi di ritibatse le tsone di neile matla o tsama a ntse a jola le bananyana ba ba ntle.
Is he going to be called to order?
Motho yono yo o tle go tseelwa dikgato tsa kotlhao.
And who is going to call him or her to order?
Ebile ke mang yo o tlileng go dira seo?
If maybe this body is there, has been established,
Fa ile gore mokgatlho o teng o setse o tlhomilwe,
go nna le gone gore le ke tla adima mo go ba bangwe lefoko le ba le dirisang gore ke re mohlomongwe go nne le a step aside rule. In case now you are involved in this, now step aside.
there will be, let me borrow a word, the word step aside rule, gore a bolelele motho gore o dirile jana re kopa gore o re sutele go sekanyana o eme ka fa thoko.
Gore se ka nna fela a loose cannon.
So it mustn't just be a loose cannon.
Ke buile ka framework le funding.
I spoke about thulaganyo le go tshegediwa ka madi.
Ra itse gone yaanong gore people like money, people like money.
We know right now gore batho ba rata tšhelete ba e rata. They love money.
To impress, you know, to by rata, and once I said in that situation,
Ba batla go kgatlha ba bangwe, they love it. Mme motho a teng ha setse a le mo boemong jo bo ntseng jalo, then this person actually disregard the laws.
jaanong a batho ba ba tlhokomelwe sentle.
Now we want an eye to be kept on these people.
Ke a leboha.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ke leboga thata.
Thank you. Next.
Good morning, everyone.
Dumelang lotlhe.
My name is Motlahuilwe Dintwe.
Leina la me ke Motlahuilwe Dintwe.
I'm from Ward 2 in the Tsobotla local municipality.
Mme nna ke kwa Ward 2 local municipality ya kwa Ditsobotla.
My submission is this.
Ngongorego ya me ke e.
I agree with the Constitutional Court that independent candidates should be included in the provincial and national government elections.
Ke dumalana le taelo ya kgotlatshekelo ya molaotheo ya gore bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi ba akarediwe gore e nne bontlhopheng mo kokoanong mo setšhaba mmogo le mo kgotlatheong molao ya porofense.
And therefore the current Electoral Act should be amended accordingly.
Mme ka ntlha ya moo molaotlhomo wa ga jaanong jaana wa ditlhopho o tshwanetse gore o fetolwe o mametlelwe ka tshwanelo.
Looking at the present bill that is in front of us,
Ha re leba molaotlhomo ono o fa pele ga rona ga jaanong jaana,
my submission is that the current Electoral Act at the national level should now follow exactly the same system, the mixed member system that is used at local government elections.
ke ne nka rata gore tsamaiso e e dirisiwang ga jaanong jaana ya ditlhopho ya molaotlhomo ono e latelele thulaganyo e ntseng e le teng ya go tswakanya batho ba ba farologaneng ba e leng gore ba itlhagisa go nna bontlhopheng.
I'm fully aware that this system at local government elections is widely accepted by the public.
Ke itse tlhoko gore ditlhopho tse di ntseng jalo ha re tla mo mererong ya selegae ba le bantsi ba ile maloko a setšhaba ba e amogela.
And my submission is we've got 226 local municipalities in South Africa in total.
Mme palogotlhe ya bommasepala mo Aforika Borwa ke 226.
And the bill recommends that we have 200 that should be contested by regions.
Mme molaotlhomo o laela fano gore re nne le 200 e leng gore e tla gaisanelwa ke dikgaolo.
I submit that the 200 should be divided into things like wards at local
Ka jalo
municipalities.
ke tshosinya fano gore 200 eno e kgaogangwe gore e nne di-ward tse di farologaneng.
Just as an example,
Ka sekai,
in Northwest, we've got 18 local municipalities, excluding the district municipalities.
mo bokone bophirima fano fa re na le bommasepala ba le 18 re sa tsenyeletse bommasepala ba kgaolo.
The 18 local municipalities out of 200 will give the Northwest 9 seats to be contested.
Ba ba 18 bano 200 mono mo bokone bophirima e tla ba naya ditulo di le 9.
Out of this 9, the local municipalities can be rearranged in such a way that we've got each and every region contesting in the same way as a ward that we will call constituency or something of that sort.
Ka jalo mo go tse 9 tseno gore re ka nna ra dira gore di kgaogangwe e le gore dikgaolo tse di farologaneng di tla di kgone go gaisanelana ka tsela e tla dirang dilo botoka.
In that way, the same as at local government, the independent candidates will be contesting directly against the party candidate, not the party list,
Ka
which
tsela
is fair.
ka tsela e ntseng jalo bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi go raya gore bone e tla re ha ba gaisana ba dira jalo ba itebagantse le makoko a sepolotiki e leng tsela e siameng mo boemong jwa go gaisana kgatlhanong le lenaane la bapolotiki.
And from the community point of view, this would also be more fair because each and every region or the constituency would be having somebody that they elect directly to the national parliament.
Me go ya ka maloko a setšhaba ba bona seno e tlabe e le se se siameng fela thata ka gonne ka go dira jalo ba tlabe ba tlhopha motho ka tlhamalalo wa bone yo o tla yang go ba emela ko palamenteng.
And this is happening at local government, and nobody has got a problem with that so far.
Me seno se direga mo teng ga puso selegae ebile ga go ope yo nang le bothata ka ga seo.
And I don't see the reason why this cannot be taken like that to the national elections and provincial elections.
Ebile ga ke bone bothata jwa gore ke ka ntlha yang ha re ka se ke ra tsa thulaganyo eo e ntse jalo re isa go kokwana bo setšhaba mmogo le kgotlapeomolao mo porofenseng.
On the other 200, that is the PR list,
Me ha re ya ka 200 e nngwe e e le lenaane la PR
the proportional
e
representation.
leng proportional representation ka mantswe a mang dikemedi ka tekatekano.
I've got a problem seriously, and I do not agree that there should be a thing called independent candidate vote that should be disregarded.
So ke na le bothata tota na ebile ga ke dumele gore go tshwanetse gore go nne le diboutu tsa bontlhopheng tse e leng gore di tshwanetse go latlhiwa.
It is the voters' will that they should be represented by independent candidates.
Keletso ya ba ba votang ke gore ba emelwe ke bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi.
Because they wouldn't be necessarily agreeing with the present or the then political parties.
Ka gore ba ne ba tla ba sa dumalane le tsamaiso ya ga jaanong kgotsa re ka re gongwe le makoko a sepolotiki.
And on the thing of qualification of candidates,
Me ha re tla mo ditshwanelegong tsa bontlhopheng
I really do not agree with the bill the way it is now, that there should be a quota that independent candidates should go through.
tota nna ga ke dumalane le tsela e molaotlhomo o ntseng ka yone gone jaanong jaana wa gore go na le quota e bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi ba tshwanetseng gore ba e latelele.
At the present moment at local government, we are using simple majority for a candidate to get into a seat.
Gone jaanong jaana mo porofenseng re dirisa thulaganyo e motlhofu fela ya simple majority ya gore motlhopheng a kgone go bona setulo.
And after that, the proportional representation takes into account all the other votes to get the constituency
Me morago ga
and the
mo
council in.
dikemedi ka tekatekano di tlabe di simolola di leba tsela e molemo ya dikemedi ya gore ba nne le dikemedi ka tekatekano.
And this should be fair going forward, because at the moment at parliamentary level, there is what we call minority party vote.
Seno ga sa tshwanna go nna bothata ka gonne ko parlamenteng re na re se re se bitsang gore ke minority vote,
Where the party that gets the highest of all the small parties that did not meet the quota gets a seat.
mo go rang gore lekoko le le bonang palo e kwa godimo go gaisa ba bang ba ba sa bonang e kalo ke bone ba newang setulo.
Why shouldn't that be the case with independent candidates also?
Goreng re sa dirise se tshwanang le ka bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi.
And with the objections or objections to independent candidates.
Me ha re tla mo kganya ya go ganwa ga bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi.
Yeah, this happens at local level the way it is, and then we can object directly to the person, but not to the PR list that goes into the council. That also applies to the national government.
Seno ke se se direga mo karolong ya rona ya selegae me ga se direge ha go dirisiwa lenaane la PR e leng leo le dirang ka tlhamalalo kwa pusong.
In so many cases, we've seen political parties appointing into their PR what I can call black box list, because it's not, we cannot object to it. They take any other person that cannot even meet the what I can call the ward level competition.
Re bone seno se direga thata mo karolong ya selegae re bona makoko a sepolotiki a dirisa se re se bitswang gore ke black box list e leng gore ba itlhophela mongwe le mongwe fela and ha ba mo tlhophile ba mo mone ga gona opo yo ka gananang le kgang e kgotsa a ema kgatlhanong le thulaganyo e ba dirisitseng.
And therefore I suggest that the PR list should also be able to be objected against.
Me ke kopa gore ha ile gore go ntse jalo PR list le yone go nne le kgonego ya gore batho ba eme kgatlhanong le yone.
That was my submission.
E ne le tshwaelo ya ka eo ke ya leboga.
Thank you. Next.
Yo mongwe re lebogile thata.
Ke rata go tsa opportunity ya go dumedisa community ya Bokone Bophirima.
I would like to take this opportunity and say my greeting to the Northwest community.
Ka leina ke Khotso Seheri,
My name is Khotso Sehere.
ke mosha wa mo teng mo Bokone Bophirima mo Mahikeng.
I am a young person right here in Northwest in Mahikeng.
Chairperson, I just hope gore young people will find expression mo kopanong.
Modulasetulo ke solofela gore bašwa ba ba leng teng fano fa ba tla kgona go utlwa gore re amega ka bone.
Mine is very simple. I'll try and keep it short, like a miniskirt.
Ntlha ya me e khutshwane fela ke tla leka go e boloka e le khutshwane fela jaaka mosese o mokhutshwane.
To begin with, as a young person, I'm against the amendment bill, independent councillors, because to begin with, it's unconstitutional.
Jaaka mošwa ke batla go bua fano fa gore tota nna ke kgatlhanong le molaotlhomo ono o buang ka bakhanselara ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi ka gonne tota se ga se tsamaisane le molao theo.
But there are also unconstitutional peer councillors and ward councillors in our province.
Mme gape go na le bakhanselara ba PR le ba di-ward ba e leng gore le bone ga ba dire dilo go ya ka molao theo mo porofenseng ya rona.
We recently had local government elections, and it's unfortunate that our province has a dark cloud hanging over it.
Bošeng jaana re nnile le ditlhopho tsa selegae mme ka maswabi ga go bona le go na le isago e itumedisang mo porofenseng ya rona.
We are faced with mayors, speakers, and councillors.
Re na le di-mayora babusa kgotla mmogo le bakhanselara
That were parachuted into positions through campaigns such as Moshapalong.
ja ba ba neng ba tlhatlhisiwa maemo ka go tswa matsholo a tshwana le a bidiwang Moshapanong,
Which was supposed to champion interest of young people and be inclusive of every young person.
ba ba neng ba tshwanetse gore ba akanyetse dikgatlhegelo tsa bašwa le gore botlhe ba akarediwa ka tshwanelo.
And as a young person, I was very ecstatic that young people will finally find the opportunity to lead.
Mme ebile ka nako ena ke ne ke itumetse tota ke solofetse gore bašwa ba tlile go nna le tšhono ya go ithuta.
Only until the PLC, the Provincial List Committee, and the Johannesburg High Court found.
So.
Only until the PLC, the Provincial List Committee, and the Johannesburg High Court found that these mayors, speakers, and councillors were put in position unlawfully or unconstitutionally.
Go fitla ka nako e PLC mmogo le kgotla sekelo kgolo ya Gauteng e sena go bona bosupi jwa gore batho bano ba bana ba tlhagisitswe maemo e se ka tsela.
Mainly because in our province, Chair,
Ka se ne ke ka ntlha ya go bo modulasetulo mo porofenseng eno ya rona.
re na le segongwana sa magana go butswa.
We have some cliques that are uncalled for.
That gave certain people their login codes, and these people, bona ba decided gore ba itseng.
Ba naya batho di-login code tsa bone, and these people they actually put themselves forward and they get successful.
Mind you, these people were not elected by their respective communities.
Batho bano ba ne ba sa tlhophiwa ke maloko ka bone a setšhaba.
So as young people, we ask intervention from Parliament,
Ka jalo jaaka bašwa re kopa gore ka tsweetswe palamente e re thuse.
because the court order said that these people must remove themselves. Me bona ba tetepetse mo di-positioning tsa bona.
Ka lebaka la gore kgotlatshekelo e ile ya re batho bano ba tswe mo maemong ao, but we see them rooted still in those positions.
No, ameya makhutshwane ke yona lao.
That was my brief submission. Thank you very much.
Submission. Can we invite further hands? Number one. Number two. Number three. Number four. Yeah, you can join that. Okay. We'll check others. Anyone who still want to Okay, let's start.
Check 1 2 1 2.
Chairperson, with your permission, if the speaker submits in English, there will be no need to interpret back in Setswana because the submission is already in English to the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And the speakers here and the hearing committee, I greet you in the great name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Chairperson, I am not going to be out of order deliberately. But I'm going to raise first my concern in connection with this electoral amendment bill. The concern I'm raising, Chairperson, is the concern raised earlier by a certain Mr. Tebe, if I'm correct, that the ruling of the Constitutional Court was 2 years ago. But now, this is attended on the 11th hour. And really, 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 it's a serious concern, my honorable committee. Because I am Ulifile Dimbi, did I say that? I'm from Ramotsiri Muilwa. This document, I'm seeing it for the first time here in the past 2 years. The awareness campaign of this amendment was presented to us in Ramotsiri a day before yesterday. And what was presented, I feel stupid to come here and present it. Honestly. Because we are 18 or 22 in a transport which brought us here. We only understood one thing, that in Parliament there are 400 seats allocated. Now, this bill wants to change that because the previous one was wrong. So they want to give independent candidates some seats nationally and provincially. So I just come here, as old as I am, to come and say my presentation is that the seats must be increased. Is correct. Because it is. Now I see the document. I can read English. I could have read this document through. Then when I come to present here, I know what I'm talking about. Now just imagine this old man coming almost 100 kilos to come and say, yes, we agree that the bill must change, and we are saying, give the politicians, political parties, 70% and give the independent 30%. That is our presentation. What is that? And through I've presented. Yes, we support the change of the bill. Give the independent candidates 1/3 and give the political parties 2/3. I'm through, Chairperson. And that is not fair. That is not right. So next time, Chairperson, please, I don't know who is responsible, must make sure that if we are given 2 years, we must start running from the very first month. Now I feel stupid here. It was presented stupidly at my home. I came all the way here, I present stupid. Okay, we support the changes, the amendment of the bill, that the independent candidates must give in seats. Then if I was at the church, I was going to say, Amen.
Thank you for your, I think it's an important concern you are raising. We'll deal with that matter when we are closing. We appreciate that honest observation on the part of those that could not do their work. Proceed.
Yes, I greet everyone in the name of our Lord Jesus. I'm Nhlanhla Buthelezi from Northwest Ward 1. I'm a member of Board Committee. I also belong to an organization, political organization. So I'll just keep it for myself at one. Yes, on Monday we did meet on discussing this, and I raised the issue of the numbers. Why 200, and then and even in the 200 where independents must contest. Again, political parties are also part of it. I raised it, it's fine. But I agree, I accept as a positive a step towards our democracy in making it better, in improving our democracy, because it's one way to save the democracy, our democracy, which I'm youth also, but to be a young person doesn't mean to be out of order. So, our political organizations, actually, they are dramatic. They will talk about how they will be fair, how they are improving unity and all those wonderful things. But check what is happening. It's all about factions. And the very people who are saying we are now going to renew are the ones actually who are leading in all those things. Now, as a voter, what is going to happen to me? What is going to happen to my future if I will be led in that way? For that reason, I say, yes, independents deserve to have a voice, because even in the municipalities, the same thing, really. You find that this particular independent lost the ward, but he nearly won the ward. But because it's an independent, there won't be any seats there. But you check other smaller parties, they have their voices represented there. That is not fair for our democracy. So I say it is true. Changes needs to be done, and in a fairly manner. And also there should be a way that those people should be managed, or should be, there must be a way, so that we don't want to see the things that are happening in the organizations coming and happening, in fact, worse, because people are still loose cannons inside the organization. How much more if they will be independent? So we kindly, if there will be a way to manage them. So that was my simple, thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good day. My name is Dunsani Nabe from Baronwora Pulan. I don't know where to start.
Sorry, your name?
Dumsani.
Dumsan.
Nabe.
Nabe.
Spell A-N-E-E.
Thank you.
I would like to concur with the old man from Ramuterimui. The time frame that was given to us was not adequate enough for us to prepare. Chair, I would like to date back as early as 2008 on the proposed amendment back then in Parliament. It was proposed to the proposal was to move along with time. Since well now that we are in the fourth industrial revolution, I think it will only be fair if the system can change to be electronic, because in electronic voting system, I think it will be fair for all members, from public participation, pre-election campaigns, that the system can vet people or candidates accordingly. Because now, when you get this ballot system, you hear that some papers or ballot boxes were stolen somewhere else, and some other shenanigans everywhere. So I humbly submit to the portfolio. Can we get along with times and get that e-voting system in order? Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Allow me an opportunity to greet the chairperson and his committee and everybody else who came forth today. I'm going to be very short, although I look tall. The memorandum of the electoral bill in connection with the independent participants. This point is very valid, actually. For this participant to be independent at their own provinces, even to be independent on their national levels. I'm saying this because the parliament itself agreed on this matter. That we encourage, and the parliament itself encourage that local municipalities should have independent participants. However, this independent participant in the municipality level, I don't see any difference within the province as well that they can be independent or that are in the national level. Because the parliament has already agreed for them to be on local government. What we can allude and rather ask or wonder is that who will be managing them, who will be governing them in the process. That's the main issue that I'm going to elaborate on. I didn't really attend school or higher education for that matter, but I've learned to copy at some point. Therefore, I was very good on copying, but only good and right things. On today's government, we attempt to be faulty at some point. When we started this electoral independent commission, we are not invited as a community in this fashion, so that we can narrate and see how far can this whole thing be complicated in future for these people. To me, it appears as if this independent electoral participant, they have complications. My thought is, let's allow them a fair chance. Only if they can obey and follow the rules and the laws under the government. Even the number that is allocated for them should be exactly the number. But my question is, in my conclusion, I have a question. Are they also going to be funded just like any other political parties? Because some of them will just participate or be part just for the sake of being funded. After that, they will just disappear. They will have reached whatever the objective that will be. That's my conclusion. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I invite other hands? The first one, number 2, number 3. Is there any other hand? Okay, thank you. Yeah, you can start.
Honorable Chabane and your team, and the great people of Mahikeng, I greet in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. I want to take 30 seconds of my 5 minutes just to appreciate you and your team, particularly you, how you have handled with dignity this process and just allowing and affording people space, particularly those who have good contributions, allow them more time. Thank you for that. My name is Vulelani Mkotliswa from the New Nation Movement. We are the ones who took up this matter to the Constitutional Court, and by the grace of God, we won. We won for the citizens of this nation. We won for the deepening of democracy, not even for ourselves. So I think before I say anything, I also want to just commend the wonderful people who have made effort to understand what is happening here. Mildred made a beautiful contribution to me, Tahu, and some others. So it's good that people are making effort to say we want to make a contribution in this democracy. In fact, if people are following our interviews, we're always very clear that we're hoping that this court judgment is going to open up space for public discourse so that people can own the process of democracy. What is our submission? Our submission, we've made it. And I'm not going to take time on that. But I think it's important that we emphasize the importance that we are recommending that the 52 districts, as they currently stand, be recognized as those multi-member constituencies. And then they be recognized and be given equal status as that of political parties. And thirdly, the seat must belong to the district, not to the individual. In fact, I think it's important, Honorable Chabane and your team, for us to emphasize this point that it looks like this judgment has not been thoroughly understood. You know, the court order of the Constitutional Court, page 2, paragraph 4, it clearly states that the Electoral Act of 73 of 1998 is declared unconstitutional in as far as it only allows people to contest for national and provincial via the membership of their political parties. What that simply means is that people have only been given a vehicle of political parties to go into parliament to serve the nation. So the judgment is not necessarily limiting and opening up space for the independent candidates. It's opening up the space even for the citizens as organizations and as constituencies to come together and nominate their own people. Because many people, Mamuleko, am I correct in pronouncing your name, your surname? People have not lost confidence in their collective decision making. What people may have lost confidence in is the closed party system. And we appreciate the fact that no political parties must be dictated to as to how they should run their affairs. I have my own household. No one must come and tell me how to do things in my own household. But if that system is not working for everyone, at least create another avenue for people to be able to engage nationally, provincially, so that their interests and the causes are advanced at the national and provincial level. So I think maybe let me also register this concern that as you would do maybe a second leg, we request that communication be much more, engage with us much better. Because now we have to literally scratch for the information. I mean, as New Nation Movement, we have never been invited we've never been consulted. And it's fine, we may be seen as nobodies, and it's okay if Parliament
and those powers that be see us that way. But we will continue to stand for the communities. We will continue to stand for the marginalized, to say there are great people sitting here who know exactly what their challenges are. And they know they have the solutions to those challenges. And they don't want to express those solutions in a political party setup. But they still want to come as a collective. So we are requesting, Honorable Chabane and your team, that communicate more, make sure that you advertise these things. I mean, I had to run to Mahikeng from the Eastern Cape, because the ones for the Eastern Cape, I think they are today as well. But because I had assignments in Gauteng and in Rustenburg. So now, because if these things were communicated well in advance, we would have been able to schedule our diaries so that we make sure that people are able to make those significant and meaningful contributions. Thank you so much. But maybe one last point. I think the saddest thing is that political parties are scripting what people should come and say. I mean, there's Upapa here who came and spoke about, they were told 2 days ago, and their presentation was to say, let be 70-30. You know, I mean, those things are not giving people, you know, honest opinion about
I'm sure. We don't want to talk on behalf of other political parties or whatever comes here to speak to the committee. So I'm sure he understands that process. So we don't want to, when people have sent to come and make submissions here, or NGOs or structures or New Nation, they must be accused that they are script to come and say things. So let's not take responsibility on other speakers when they submit here. I'm just pleading. So that.
But Honorable Chabane, I mean, I respect you, and I think I've expressed that sentiment.
No.
But what is clear from the frustration?
No. That I said will respond to certain issues.
Okay.
So I'm just guiding that. Let me not say I'm a member of I'm a New Nation, and when another New Nation to come and present on the script, I must dispute that present because I have no authority on the submission that people are making here. So let's stick to the issues on how to. Yeah. Thank you.
Granted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chabane.
Thank you very much. Next.
Greetings to the leadership. My name is Fani Ramabua from Lichtenburg, Ditsobotla. Ward 3. I only have 2 comments or things rather on the independent candidate issue. To be not in support of that. I have 2 reasons on my objections. Basically, the groups that are nominated, they are not doing well, not impressive at all. When you are elected as an independent candidate at a parliamentary level, I think it's just going to be the same. Because right now being led by certain groups of individuals. When you look at our awards, are very embarrassing, like just a bush. When you are an independent candidate, who do you report to exactly? Because the moment they start to look for you, we don't even know where to start or to look for you at whoever's place. Because at least if you form part of the cabinet and you are in the parliament, it will be easy for us to trace you and to identify you at the parliament. Some people actually, they just wake up and decide to be part of or to be known as an independent candidate of their own reasons of their own interest. Maybe simply because they were denied opportunities to be councillors, therefore they just opt to be independent candidates rather to remedy whatever the opportunity that they didn't get. Yet they failed with the opportunities that they were supposed to perform. But we don't even see confidence that they will perform either, even if they become independent candidates. To be an independent candidate, basically, how many people do you need for that? To form presidency, how many people do you need for that? To have maybe a certain team of representatives in a parliamentary level, how many people exactly do we need for that concept? I foresee a lot of criminal activities. Maybe as he make an example that himself will probably approach a premier to say, look, I'm interested to be a part of the independent candidate just for me to be rich or to be seen as this person of a certain standard, taking opportunity on that independent candidate concept. I'm really against that because, as you can see, our nation is downgraded. It's on another level that is not impressive. Look at it. Let's be fair and frank on this matter, because if, say for instance, you're being elected as the independent candidate here in Northwest of Mahikeng, and you don't perform well here, you're going to start hopping around other provinces. And obviously, because you didn't perform at a certain province, the community at that point will be frustrated and angry at you because you didn't give back to the community that whatever they were expected from you as an independent candidate being elected by the community. I've experienced that. I have an experience of what I'm talking about because it happened recently at the same ward that I'm staying at. There is an independent candidate or a team of independents that just lost. There's a civil law in the same ward that I'm staying in. Because these people, when they're losing, they cannot even accept or admit that they've lost. That now provoke war between, people of the same society.
How are you independent? How are you parliamenting? Because you're not independent.
How do you identify you at a parliament? Say you were once an independent candidate. The moment you get to the parliament, how do you identify you? What will you be called exactly? Because all the parties are represented with their specific names, like ANC or EFF, etc. I suggest that there should be some sort of identity. Once you're elected as an independent candidate, you have to have your own brand, if I may put it like that, so that makes it easy for you to be identified, as I already made the example with political parties that are represented at a parliamentary level.
owning ile mokhanselara before, o lwantsha yo ile mokhanselara no yana.
Chairperson, I want to bring to your attention that the current person that was an independent candidate is actually now against the current councillor of Lichtenburg, Ward 3. The problem is this. He doesn't want to accept that he lost. This is going to be worse because he can't admit that he lost. Because of this concept of the independent. I thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Greetings to the committee. My name is Kabelo Tau, here in Mahikeng. I'm from the popular ward here in Mahikeng. I believe that the chairperson is also aware of it. It's very popular because of the parliament. Leadership, I'm here on the very same discussion of the electoral amendment bill. Okay, I'm going to touch on few issues or comments that has already been highlighted by the previous two speakers. According to me, what has already been discussed on this electoral amendment bill, that's supposed to be inviting our comments and submissions before the parliament. In my assumptions, I want to believe that this has already been concluded. For now, it just looks like the formalities of inviting our comments or inputs, but to me, it appears as if this has already been finalized.
The reason being, since June 2020, and 24 months. But now, what surprised me because now that just imagine, Mr. amendment bill, whereas suppose we can review at least June 2020, the roof more inputs, ideas or where can live as a chair.
It's quite frustrating, Chair, for me to have this document now that was already written like a year or two ago. And I was never invited on this. I never got an opportunity. He's actually mentioning the same thing that was mentioned by the previous speaker, that it's a fruitless exercise for him to only come and comment on this now. He just got it like a day before yesterday. So it's not satisfactory that he only get hold of this document on a short notice like this.
My suggestion here, Mr. Chair, if we analyze it personality, at least refrain to say 12 months community about discussing an amendment.
It's a humble request, Chair, please, that as much as this is important to your committee or to the parliamentary at large, we also request that as the community to at least obtain a copy of this document a year, before, so that as community can have a chance and opportunity to deliberate on it, look at it, so that when we attend such meetings, we are fully clued up and we have a background of what is happening on this document.
But my question is, they still remember but
I'm concerned because I see the content of this bill is actually talking about these independent candidates. But I'm curious as to, once they are elected, are they going to represent the community to the best interest of the community or to the best interest of their own individual objective? Are they also going to mention issues of qualifications like your grade 12 and etc.?
nna ke ipuela mogolo ona ke re ge ke na le lekoko la ga ke ikemetse ge ke le ko parlamenteng ke le bana ba ba ko tlase ba ba ko morago ba mphušitseng bone ma grade 9 ya ma grade 11 I'm only speak about experience ba e leng gore le bokgone anonyana as we sit here I don't think here we're going to experience every time more government or about experience, but they forget the motors and experience. Wow, vote and
Chairperson, this is very disappointing because this is the same community that perhaps doesn't have matric, but they are the same community that are actually electing these candidates to represent them at a higher authority. But when they get to the positions of authority, they forget about the community. They start telling them about the experiences, but they forget that they are actually sitting where they are sitting because of the votes of the community. I'm asking with plea and peaceful request in a peaceful land of Mahikeng.
So my question is someone how send the email you got a pending or send them a pending. So you ask yourself for I was also a parliament as a feature but more if you look at how analysis of parliament.
There's an issue here, Chairperson, that whatever inquiries that we have or concerns that we have, that we are encouraged by the same parliament that we should inquire via the email address. I don't know if it's available for the community. However, whenever they use the same system of inquiries, it seems like nobody is actually reading those emails. Instead, what they see on the system, on their systems, is that the email will just reflect pending. So clearly or seemingly, nobody attends to their queries or inquiries on this platform that was availed for them to use. So it's a plea that there should be an effort of attending to such mails and inquiries. In my conclusion, Chair, please, whenever you come around or you sit around the tables to compile such documents and laws like this, referring to this specifically electoral amendment bill, you need to consider the nation, people at large, Batopili, and put them first as the priority on this documents. I'm not sure if I will be out of order, but would have actually liked that I got this document timelessly, although it's written in English. I don't really have a good background of English. However, I would have got an opportunity to go through it, but allow me also to say a few before I conclude. Chairperson, one point of importance is that there's community members that are contributing as a community police forum, taking part in assisting the police officers or the law enforcers within the community. That actually, the effort goes without being noticed. So it's my request that whenever you draft such laws, to consider them, especially on issues pertaining to some sort of remuneration, so that they can also feed their families, because they contribute highly in terms of crime prevention and assisting police officers on, guarding against crime in the community. In fact, they're actually doing even much better than the police officers themselves. That's my request, Chairperson and the committee. Let it rain, Chairperson and the rest of the people.
Thank you. Can we invite other hands? If you... Okay, number one. You can join here. It appears that is the last hand we're dealing with. So, any other hand? Okay, we're going to consider it as the last hand, but I'm pleading if there's any other hand, you must raise so that you are not excluded from this process.
Bagaetsho ke karolo ya bofelo re kopa gore ha ile gore tota batla go bua o tsholetse letsogo ha o sa le tsholetse o siwa ke bese.
Because this is your meeting. We're only in control to facilitate it.
Ka gonne ke kopano ya lona eno so re batla gore lo isole molemo.
Okay, when they are finished then we'll respond to other issues and outline the process.
Etla re ha le se le weditse then re tlo go bua ka dintlha di le pedi le le tharo re tlhalosa tshulaganyo e tleng go latelwa morago ga fano.
Thank you.
Ra leboga. Greetings, everybody. My name is Mpho Mahura. My Christian name is Kennedy. I just want to say a point or two.
But there is a clause that deals with deposit. Yeah, the candidate.
I don't have a bill in my hands. Me fela gona le polelwana e buang ka bontlhopheng. E buang ka go duela ga deposit malebana le bontlhopheng. My request is for us to have that clause deleted. And then another point that I would like to mention
screening and vetting of candidates.
Is the ke amanang le go tlhatlhobisisiwa ga bontlhopheng.
Very clear legislation.
I would like that to be very clear mo molaong.
The candidate they are screening with certain requirements.
As to the fact that bontlhopheng they must be screened with certain requirements. And then one of them would be they must not. That one that we need to amend and insert there is that they must not have any criminal records.
Educational qualifications, somebody this state vacancy in one of the requirements.
And also that their education level must be stated, as one of the speakers mentioned, referring to metric, less the requirement. The other one, the other amendment, which I would like to suggest,
a compulsory insert as a clause. There must be a compulsory. It must be compulsory for public representatives, those ba batlang go nominate or ba elect them. In a compulsory for them to do workshop on legislative processes. In a maikarabelo abone agraba tlhopa ya nombatle ke ntse ke utlwa ra bua gore go na le bothata jwa gore ke gone ba kry-ang information maabane. Let's make it compulsory for those representatives gore ba kgone gore a kry ba ka ba le on the ground melao ye ba kgone go in a simplified form ba kgone go traina batho ba rone ka yone.
So we want them that to be their responsibility. One of the speakers did mention that they came here without enough information, but that has to be their responsibility, and then they will have to follow through on that related to the required requirements. I would like that must be it's a ngwe mo molaong gore e nne molao o tlong go mametlelelwa lone.
Ke ne ke bala regional seats, those quotas.
I was reading these regional seats, the quotas.
Somewhere there insert an exemplary calculation note for easy reference here, ordinary citizens, because it can be a bit complicated. Through yone. So for easy reference here, the ordinary citizens, just mutlasenyana for an example, yeah, the calculation, yeah, the notes to say that the quota city berekayana, or if motoanality a personality city zedika or motoagredi city zedikana is on zohore a qualify for the vote to take.
So
then Libeli explain that kibone inali an elimination process for le an exemplary note ya teng gore re kgone go itlhaloganya sentle.
So just to add, there's one part there, so he's requesting that we have to show everybody how the calculations for obtaining of the seats is made. So it must be clearly and be understood, maybe at the bottom somewhere, so that everybody can be able to follow that very, very clearly without any problem.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for your contributions. And we appreciate as a committee for the audience.
And
it has been demonstrated that members of the community have looked at the amendment bill and contributed on some of the areas. And we also take note of those that could not have been reached to take time to interact with the amendment bill. But Parliament at all times, when we go out, we go with the advanced team of public education that deals with creating awareness for our members of the community. And we thank them because they've been here. They'll also taken that opportunity to contribute to the members of the public. As you have noted that this opportunity that has been created for you to input, we are not going to respond to any other issue you have raised. Particularly in relation to the electoral amendment bill we're dealing with now. The committee is going to deliberate on all the issues throughout the public hearings we've received. and pay attention to what the Constitutional Court has directed Parliament to do.
mme e tla ela tlhoko thata taelo eo palamente kgotlatshekelo ya molaotheo e neileng palamente gore e se dire.
We've issued, as I indicated earlier, written submissions which we have received and they've closed on the 21st of February.
Ditshwaelo tseno tse re tsamayang re di amogela jaaka ke tlhalositse le tota le tse di kwadilweng di tle go tswalelwa ka di 28 tsa February.
They've closed already, 21st of
Di
February.
setse di tswaletswe ka di 21 tsa February.
And we had the oral submissions on the 3rd and on the 2nd, on the 3rd of February.
mme ka di 2nd le di 3rd tsa February ke ha jaanong re simolola re nna le ditshwaelo tse di tshwanang le tsa lona tse di buang ka molomo.
And the gentlemen here of the New Nation can attest that they were part of those that contributed to the committee.
mme o mongwe wa borre ba re nang le bone fano fa wa New Nation a ka lontshetsa bosupi jwa gore go ile ga dirwa fela ka mokgwa o ntseng jalo ha re bua ka tse di neng di kwadilwe.
So at the time the committee is going to sit, you are going to deliberate on all the issues, including the issues we've raised, where our colleagues have taken notes.
ka jalo e tla re ha re nna fa fatshe re tlotla re tla re bua ka ditshwaelo tsotlhe tse lo di ntshitseng tse e le gore di akaretsa le tse ntseng di kwalwa ke badiri ka rona ba ba ka fa morago game.
As you know that the bill has been tabled to Parliament this year on the 10th of January 2022.
jaaka ga lo itse gore ka di 10 tsa January 2022 molaotlhomo ono o ne wa bewa fa pele ga palamente.
And the committee has tried its all to communicate with society in terms of this process.
mme komiti ile ya leka ka bojotlhe gore e tlokisana le maloko a setšhaba ka ga thulaganyo eno.
Both the media, print and electronic, they have been assisting us to communicate the message.
ba metswedi ya dikgang tse di kwalwang mmogo le tse di tsa kgaso ba re thusitse fela thata gore re kgone go ntsha puisano le maloko a setšhaba ka ga thulaganyo eno.
Once we are done, we are going to submit a report to Parliament for consideration.
jaanong rona e tla re ga re sena go konela ya rona tiro re be re naya palamente pego ya rona.
And once Parliament has approved, it will refer the report to the NCOP.
jaanong ga palamente yona e sena go dira tiro ya yona e tla be e naya NCOP pego ya bone.
The National Council of Provinces may decide to come back to the people or invite NGOs or political parties for further consultation.
ka jalo lekgotla la bosetšhaba la diporofense le ka nna la tsaya tshwetso ya gore le boe gape le boele mo go lona go tla go tsaya ditshwaelo tse di oketsegileng malebana le molao thulaganyo eno.
So this process of engagement, the discourse we have started as Parliament, it will include all citizens to input so that ultimately when the NCOP and the President has assented, it becomes inputs that were generated through our people.
ka jalo thulaganyo eno yotlhe e rileng ra e tshwara go tshwara motlotlo le lona e a akaretsang palamente le NCOP e tle go ya go felela bokgakaleng jwa gore ko bofelong e tla be e fitlha le kwa go moporesidente gore a e sekaseke.
So we thank you for coming here. It was an important for us so that we are properly guided by your input so that when we deliberate as members of committee, we're able to take notes on what we've raised as members and political parties, NGOs, and the pastoral forum.
ka jalo re itumeletse thata go tla fana ga lona le ditshwaelo tsa lona ka gonne mo go rona lo re thusitse go re kaela rona jaaka komiti mme seno se ya bokgakale jwa go akaretsa le makoko a tshwana le di NCOP le ba bangwe e le gore tshwetso ya bofelo e re tla e fitlhelelang e nne e tshwanetseng.
So when we're here, we don't have a decision and authority. Ours is to guide the meeting, take notes on your issues.
ka jalo rona ga re le fano tota ga rena tshwanelo ya go tsaya tshwetso epe se se le teng fela re tsa ditshwaelo tsa lona di ya go tlotlwa gore go dire tshwetso ka tsone.
And we want to apologize on behalf of that one, that friend of ours who said he want to be out of order.
ebile re kopa tshwarelo mo boemong jwa mo go lona mo ka ga mo le ka ona le la rona lo a ipoleletsa ha tsena fano gore ene o tlo go tswa mo taolong.
So all of us must try by all means to be patient when we interact with one another.
ka jalo re kopa gore rotlhe re nne pelotelele ha re ntse re dirisana mongwe le yo mongwe re dirisana mmogo.
Thank you very much. Our meeting is then adjourned.
Re a leboga, kopano eno e fitlhile mo bokhutlhong jwa yone.
Don't we have an uncle here? The uncle usually says we must go and wash hands. There is something at home. Ira.